Good evening and welcome. My name is Jerry Shell, President and CEO of the Rancho Regional Chamber. We are going to continue with our candidate forum today. This one is a little bit different in that it is tax assessor. So a little bit different qualifications and interest at this level. From the tax assessor standpoint, it continues the same format that we've done with the other candidates that have been out. This is a forum. It is not a debate. It is why you are best for the position. Why are you running? And that way folks can make an intelligent decision on election day, November 8th. That being said, I would like to welcome both of our county assessor. The challenger is Lawrence Griego. That being said, let's go ahead and get started with our opening. Linda, you're up first. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, everybody. I appreciate that you care enough to come out and hear us. And I feel like just like any other good game, I should start with a very genuine good luck, Lawrence. It is not a me against him situation. This is two people. Sorry, thank you. It is two people running for the same position. My name's Linda Gallegos. I'm your current Sandoval County assessor. I've lived in this area in Sandoval County for 45 years. I'm very invested in this area and doing the right thing for our community, and I have done that for the past 4 years. I'm married. My husband is here. Thank you, Joey. We've got 3 grown children and 1 grandbaby that just turned a year old yesterday. So again, that's my personal. I'm kind of addicted to pickleball now. I'm in the community, and again, I've been a volunteer coach. I've been volunteer referee. I've been involved in the community, in the schools. I've done a lot of other things besides coming and being your assessor for the past 4 years. But I did come to the job with 30 years of experience in real estate, in title, in banking, in investment. I have my Series 6 and 63 license. And so I'm not a politician before this. I came from the private industry. I was the former deputy treasurer when I was working for the county and saw that the current assessor at the time wasn't coming. That's what prompted me to run. But as I said, and so I stood here 4 years ago and asked for your vote. I asked for your, hey, give me a shot. Now I'm here to say I've done my job. I've kept all my promises for the past 4 years. And I'm here today to explain my qualifications and humbly ask for your vote once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Griego. Your opening.
My name is Lawrence Griego, and I'm running for Sandoval County Assessor. I'm married, have 2 sons, and a stepson. I'm originally from Alameda in the far north valley of Albuquerque. In 2000, I moved to Corrales and then to our home in Rio Rancho in 2008. My family has deep roots in Sandoval County dating back hundreds of years in the Corrales and Cuba areas. I've been an employee of the Sandoval County Assessor's Office since 2006, where I started as a part-time temporary appraisal technician. I worked my way up to appraiser supervisor, and as a full-time working parent, I earned the New Mexico Certified Appraiser Certificate in 2008, a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership in 2013, and in 2018, I earned 2 nationally recognized professional designations. I earned the New Mexico Certified Public Manager designation from the New Mexico State University EDGE program, which stands for Education Designed to Generate Excellence. And in 2018, I earned the National Residential Evaluation Specialist designation from the International Association of Assessing Officers. I have instructed for the NMSU EDGE program, where I taught appraisal courses to county government officials, and completed the instructor training workshop from the International Association of Assessing Officers. As assessor, I will serve the taxpayers of Sandoval County with integrity, professionalism, and respect. With solid credentials and almost 20 years direct experience, I know the workings of the assessor's office to ensure that all property owners are treated fairly and equitably according to the law. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go off to the first question. So, Mr. Griego, the first question is describe your knowledge of property tax laws in the state of New Mexico.
Since 2006, I've been working in the Sandoval County Assessor's Office, and I've been using the time. There's many different tax laws that come to bear when dealing with property tax. One that most people are concerned about is the 3% cap. The 3% cap is on residential valuation. It's not a 3% cap on the taxes. There's also the senior disabled veterans value freeze. Seniors over 65 years old or disabled at any age, they can apply for a value freeze, which does not freeze the tax, it freezes the value for their property. If they apply and they're approved for 3 consecutive years, then that becomes permanent on their account. There's also the head of family exemption. That reduces the taxable value by $2,000. Property owners can save between $50 and $75 a year, and it's applied to the primary residence for the owner. There's also the veterans exemption, which reduces the taxable value by $4,000 on any real property. There's a 100% disabled veteran that excludes taxes from the veterans on their primary residence for up to 5 acres. Both the veterans exemptions can be claimed by honorably discharged veterans or the unmarried surviving spouse of a veteran. There's also the special method of valuation, which pertains to agricultural. Properties that are being used primarily for agricultural purpose can apply for the special method of valuation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griego. Ms. Gallegos, same question.
So before working in the assessor's office, as I mentioned, I also was the chief deputy treasurer. So of course, I'm familiar with the rules as it relates to the treasurer, and Lawrence did a good job of explaining some of our exemptions. But in the assessor's office, we have a statute book, and somebody famous, I think it may have been Albert Einstein, said, never memorize anything you can look up in a book. And so I'm not saying that I know it all from memory, but I have my statute book that I've got highlighted, and I reference that as needed. I've gone up to Santa Fe as part of the job for the past 4 years. I've been up to Santa Fe in the legislation. My opponent mentioned the 3%. There was talk about taking away the 3% and whether that would be gradual or not. Again, so I've got personal experience going up to Santa Fe and speaking on these issues. We, as an assessor and part of the assessor's affiliate, and as a group, we talk about the issues that would relate to, that be important to our county. And so I've got 4 years of experience in working with all different forms, and 2 years prior to this as the treasurer, working with all tax laws.
Thank you, Ms. Gallegos. So going on to the next question, it's going to come right back to you. How would you rate your attention to detail, as that's found to be a very important trait for tax assessor?
I agree completely. I would say that I'm excellent at attention to detail, and that's very important in this job. We have there's so much stuff that the assessor's office does that I don't think people really realize. I'd love to try to educate people in just how important the assessor's office is. We have, again, January 1st is our site estate. That's the date that we use to assess all properties. Again, but throughout the year, we have our tax roll due. We send out our notice of values. All of these, there's the annual budget that certainly we have a deadline for. There's the deadline of our annual evaluation. Attention to detail is so important to all of these things, and I've not missed one of those deadlines in the time that I've been in the assessor's office. And attention to detail also is important as far as setting goals. That's one of the first things I did when I started in the assessor's office, was to set goals, and I'm pleased to say that we have made those goals. Before I got there, by statute, we should be assessing 20% of our parcels in the county. That wasn't always done, but I could tell you, in the years that I've been here, we have continually met and exceeded that goal. Again, attention to detail. That's important, and I would say that I'm an excellent person with detail and scheduling.
Thank you, Ms. Gallegos. Mr. Griego, the same question.
Attention to detail is critical in the assessor's office. The Sandoval County assessor, what we do as a profession, relies on being an appraiser. We're putting value on property. And as an appraiser, we have to be able to notice every single detail of a property when we go out to appraise the home. From the roof window types, the list goes on and on and on. I helped create an appraisal worksheet that details all the different types of detail that we need to collect when we're out on the field. All of that detail goes in to setting the values for for Sandoval County taxpayers fairly and equitably. We can't set value correctly if our data is incorrect. The old adage, garbage in, garbage out, comes to bear here. So as an appraiser and as an appraiser supervisor, and beyond being an appraiser, even for data entry, every single position in the office, attention to detail is a must. I think that with my experience in my education and my training, I can contribute to furthering, collect those details out in the field. I have created a training program, and I worked very hard on that training program, which includes a lot of detail when you're pulling that information out of the system. So to answer your question, attention to detail is extremely important in all facets of the assessor's office.
Thank you, Mr. Griego. Question coming right back to you. So we want to make sure that assessments are fair to everyone. When is it appropriate to reassess a property?
Times. So when we do, in a sense, we're doing a reassessment. Right now, we're on a 5-year reappraisal cycle, and we take the original property record card that's in the system, and we go out and we take a look at the property, and we compare the two, and we make those necessary adjustments, and then there's a reappraisal for the following year. Or when there's a sale on the property. When a property sells, that's another time to go out there and verify if everything is the same on that property. Is the condition the same? Has there been an addition? All those different components that need to be collected goes into the prior question of attention to detail. So we do that on a reappraisal, on a sale, or even on a permit. A permit might come through for a new roof, or for an addition, or for something of that nature. That's another opportunity to go out and verify every single thing that's on the property record card. And that's a reappraisal. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gallegos, same question.
Thank you. Now, you asked, when is it an appropriate time to reassess values? So appropriate versus what is actually practical are two different, again, we touched on the fact that residential homes, that 3% cap, that you're not going to go above a 3% increase each year. On vacant land and commercial, those actually are parcels that should be current and correct each year. Now, I would love to be able to stand up and say that, yeah, Sandoval County, we've got that covered, but that is not the truth, right? We're the fastest growing county in the state. We have 2 commercial appraisers. We have, again, a full staff of 34 people when we're fully staffed, which we are not. So to say when is it appropriate, certainly we should be doing it and we do as much as we can, but we do 20% of the parcels at each year. And that's why an important part of what we do is prioritizing what we need to spend our time with. Certainly at the time of a sale, that's certainly appropriate time to assess. Again, commercial, vacant land, those are items that we need to prioritize, and we do, because again, that's value to the county. So it is important to be current and correct. That is our goal. And again, we have to look at what we have. We have to see when was the last time we were out at a property, and we need to prioritize where we need to spend our time, because it's just a matter of not having all the resources. I have to tell you, I'm really glad that we are utilizing pictometry. Well, not just aerial photography, not that I'm selling one over the other, but again, we use resources outside of just using people, certainly, to gain those values as efficiently as possible. And that's important, of course, to be
Okay.
accurate and efficient.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Gallegos, the question coming right back to you is, if there's a disagreement of value on a property, how would you resolve the issue and work with your team?
A disagreement internally?
Disagreement on value. Internal or external?
Okay, so externally, we'll start with that, because every April 1st, and everybody should know this as property owners, we send out our notice of value. You have you have 30 days from the mailing notice of value to say, hey, Linda, I'm not sure I agree with this. That's the informal. We start with an informal. Normally, most of our appraisers are able to explain how we got to that value. Most people are like, yes, I understand. Even if you paid less for it, even if neighbors paying less. Again, we do a good job of explaining in a very informal way. It's very user friendly. So that's where we start. If there was an internal conflict with disagreeing about a value, I'm proud to say I have a very collaborative view and run the office. We get around, we have an all-staff meeting, and we talk about it. We normally start with our appraiser supervisors to see where they are. We pull in anybody who has any input on it. Again, it's a very collaborative office, and we would talk it out. We haven't had an issue where it's big disagreements. Again, actually an appraisal is an appraiser's view, right? It's important to know that it's not, what we do is not black and white. That's why it's so important. And I'm so glad we actually have very good staff within the office. I'm very glad that I inherited a very well-informed, hardworking office. These are people who know what they're doing. Again, and I trust their value. I trust their opinions in what they do. So a big part of it is trusting your appraiser. Again, I ask the right questions. We have some discussion. We include maybe some other appraisers. But there's never been a point where I have said to an appraiser, no, I absolutely don't believe in your value. They've had to prove it to me. They've had to show me how they got there. But again, it's not a dictatorship. It is very collaborative. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Griego, the same question.
Internally, if there's a disagreement on value, well, second, an appraisal is an opinion of value. So the appraiser is following generally accepted appraisal practice and applying the state statute to come to an opinion of value. If they have followed the appraisal practice and the state statute, then that value should be good. It's their opinion. So really the challenge is, did you apply the appraisal practice correctly? Did you apply the state statute correctly? And by going through that process, then we can work together to look at the process, to look at the statute, and determine whether the value is appropriate or not. Now, when it comes to a disagreement with the general public, that is handled through a property tax protest. Every year in the spring, April, we send out the notice of value. The notice of value is just that. It's the notice of the value that the assessor is going to put on that property. It's not the tax bill. And the property owner has 30 days to file a protest to challenge that value. In those 30 days, if they file the protest, then the assessor's office, the appraiser in that area, works with that property owner and looks at the appraisal practice, looks at the market data, looks at the cost data, looks at the income data, looks at the state statutes, and the appraiser determines whether we can support that valuation or not. The property owner, on the other hand, has what's called the burden of proof. And they bring in all of their information, all of their data, and together the appraiser and the property owner look at that and see if they can resolve that value informally. If they can't, then it is sent to the property tax board, and the property tax board will make the decision one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Griego, next question is what makes you the best qualified person for tax assessor?
It's my qualifications. I graduated from Manal School in 1993, and afterward is tied into my experience with the Sandoval County Assessor's Office, where I started in 2006 as a part-time temporary employee. Again, I have worked my way up to the appraiser supervisor position, and as a full-time working parent, I earned the New Mexico Certified Appraiser Certificate in 2008, a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership in 2013. In 2018, I earned 2 nationally recognized professional designations in the public sector, the New Mexico Certified Public Manager designation, and also from the International Association of Assessing Officers, the National Residential Evaluation Specialist designation. I have performed as an instructor with the NMSU EDGE program, where I taught appraisal courses for county government officials and passed the instructor training workshop from the IAAO. Additionally, I have helped implement best practices in mass appraisal and created a training program for the Sandoval County Assessor's Office. My credentials and my experience in the assessor's office is what sets, in the assessor's office is what gives me the edge, is what gives me the experience needed to bring to bear for the taxpayers of Sandoval County. I've started from the ground level, from taking a measuring tape, going out in the field, measuring a house, taking all that information in, putting it in the system, building the cost approach, building the market approach, and by understanding the process from the bottom up gives me that point of view, that experience, that wealth of knowledge to understand what the issues are in the office and from the other appraisers. So when the other appraisers have a question on process or how to do something, I'm qualified to help them, and in turn, that makes me qualified to serve the taxpayers of Sandoval County.
Thank you. Ms. Gallegos, same question.
Well, I've been doing the job for the past 4 years. And, you know, again, my analogies of sports is because I've either coached or played or refereed in some way. But so I'll use the analogy that I've been the head coach of the team, not the whole team. I'm not taking credit for everything we've done. We've had awesome successes over these past 4 years, and I don't take credit for all of those, but I do take. And appraisal, I know we keep referencing appraisal. That is one part of what our office does. But the other thing is we review all recorded documents that come through the county. One of my previous, so I don't have just county experience, I have outside experience. One of my other jobs that I had was a title director. I have extensive experience in title work, in looking at deeds, chain of title, other issues. We have a mapping department. Our assessor's office isn't just the appraisal group. That's an important part, but that is not all of it. And that is the experience that I have now in the past 4 years gained. In addition, we've referenced these certificates. I actually was a certified public official before starting in the office, and I am now, since I've been in the office and doing this for the past 4 years, I'm also a New Mexico certified appraiser. But again, so it's not just the appraisal, it's everything outside of that, the county that got me here, that the office has benefited. I've gained a lot of course, knowledge from the staff, and they have gained some knowledge from what I brought to the office from my outside county experience. And while I've been there, again, you said what makes me qualified. I've been doing the job. Please take a look at my record. I have removed unfair discounts. I have been fair and equitable. We have set goals and we have made those goals. That's what makes me most qualified to do it. I've been doing it and I've been doing a dang good job. And I'm proud of that. I don't mean to be cocky, but that's the truth. Please take a look at my record. And I asked you to vote for 4 more years. There's a learning curve. I didn't know everything in the first day, but I've learned a lot in the past 4 years, and we can benefit from another 4 years of my leadership.
Thank you, Ms. Gallegos. So the final question's coming right back to you. Both of you currently work in the county tax assessor's office. What is the most challenging part of the assessor's job?
I would say the one process that I would like worked on, and I think this would take some legislative change, and I'm willing to get back up to legislation and change it, is our protest process. It's not anything internally that we're doing in the office that's frustrating, but I could tell you the process itself of filing a protest, people need to have the right to be able to protest their value if they don't think it's correct. Absolutely. But we need to change how we're handling it. It's very inefficient. We have many times, again, I know I only have 2 minutes, but to explain briefly, if you disagree with your value and we don't resolve it between just talking at the office, we set it up for a formal board. We've got so many instances where people just stop communicating. They could say, I'm not going to show up unless we have a signed statement from them that's saying, hey, I withdraw. We sit there, we convene a state with the state board. We have 2 to 3 people from the state that come, 2 members from our community that come to a protest board, and ourselves. We make 5 copies of the same packet, and we set up this time, again, not just us, but the state. So it is a very inefficient way to do the protests, and that's all counties, all the assessors. We've talked about it, the assessors affiliate. We need to make some changes. So I don't have a frustration within the office, but I do have a frustration in some of the things that we're doing as an office. That would be one big change that I would work on, again, more with the assessors affiliate and be willing to go up to Santa Fe and work on changing that a bit, because again, it's inefficient. We sit there, when I named all those people, including us, we sit there, even if we know somebody's not coming, we sit there and we wait the 15 minutes, and then we, again, we get to withdraw it at that point, but it's very inefficient, it's very costly, it takes a lot of our time that should be spent with new values and working on other items just besides protests. It is a very time-consuming piece of our job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gallegos. Mr. Griego, the same question.
There's many challenges, but I think one of the biggest ones in the office right now is that we're severely understaffed. So I don't think that's an issue directly with the assessor's office. It's also being experienced across government and across the private industry. So that's a huge hurdle right now, is finding qualified and experienced people that can do the job. And even if they're not qualified, just finding somebody that has the willingness and aptitude to want to learn the job. That way, somebody like myself and the other appraisers that are there that know the process can teach them and show them the ropes and build them up. So it's a big problem. It's a big issue. And I think that that's something that I can definitely assist with. The training aspect once we get somebody in. But other than that, as Linda said, I think the protest process, I think that could be refined. One challenge that I see in the future is the availability of our pictometry, and that's the flyover. It's like Google Earth, but with special enhancements that allow us to measure for appraisal purposes. And that is critical for the appraiser to do their job effectively. So if we don't have that, then the appraiser has to go out in the field, and that's okay. That's how we always have done it. But an appraiser, once they get all their information together, they get in the vehicle and they head out to the field, they can do maybe 5 to 10 houses. But with that program, with that pictometry, their efficiency, now all of a sudden it goes up to 30, 40, 50 properties that they can review. So that's something that I foresee in the future. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we're ready for our closings. Since this is a different position than a legislative position, because you all, in this position, you will be managing people at the same time. We're going to give you 2 minutes. Please use those 2 minutes to describe your management style and also conclude with your closing. So with that said, Mr. Griego, you're up first.
My management and leadership style is based on trusting the employees, not assuming that they're doing something wrong right off the bat, or that they don't know how they're doing, that they don't know what to do, but giving them the tools and the resources so that they're empowered. My experience and qualifications set me apart from the current administration in serving the taxpayers of Sandoval County fairly, equitably, and with integrity. My communication and teaching skills have helped me mentor and develop other appraisers' abilities by making complex processes easily understood. This makes for a more effective team where everyone works together and contributes to achieving the mission of the assessor's office. Our team will build public trust by having the shared goal and responsibility of promoting a culture around the core values of integrity, respect, and professionalism. We will strive to make the taxpayer's experience with the assessor's office a positive one, where taxpayers are listened to and get the information they need in a respectful and knowledgeable manner. I will ensure fair and equitable valuations by consistently applying accepted appraisal practices and property tax laws to all property throughout the county so that all properties are treated by the same standard and the tax burden is distributed evenly. With the solid combination of experience and education in the field of property tax assessment, Sandoval County property owners can count on a qualified and competent assessor. I have a degree in organizational leadership. That has come to bear in leading the office. And because of that, I know that I am the best candidate for Sandoval County Assessor. My name is Lawrence Griego, and I'm asking for your vote to be your next Sandoval County Assessor.
Thank you, Mr. Griego. Ms. Gallegos, your management style.
Thank you. As I mentioned, my management always has been, again, I always use the coaching leading a team. It's everybody comes to the table with a different skill set. Again, I explained to you my skill set that I gained outside of the county, which I think it's an important part of it, but I understand that's not all that it is. I called on the appraisers. Again, we keep talking about just the appraisers, which is one part of our office. Again, a very important part, but we also call on our mapping department, our title, our customer service, which again handles all of our deeds. And again, everybody needs to be brought to the table. Everybody in the office has a voice. That's been super important to me. As far as in closing, again, it's not a me against somebody else thing. It comes down to experience. It's not a party thing. It's not, in the 4 years, it's never come up once what party I am. I'm proud of the party. I'm very proud to be a Democrat. It's not a matter of that. It's just that that's not what the part that matters here. When you go to vote, I ask that you look at the experience that I have, the promises that I've kept. An important part, one of the first things you do, because it's early in the year, is work on the budget, and you get your annual evaluation. Well, our budget was not correct when I got there. We got dinged for taking items out of our evaluation fund that shouldn't have been. I fixed that, and I had the knowledge to fix that from previous jobs. Again, it's an all-around, if it's an all-around experience, not just within the office, but outside, that makes me the most qualified candidate. My name's Linda Gallegos. I've been in this county for 45 years. My family came here in the 70s when literally it was just a couple hundred people and a bunch of tumbleweeds. And I care what happens in the county because me and all my family's here. I've done the right thing. I've fixed our budgets. I've worked with our staff. I'm the most qualified person. I humbly ask for your vote. Linda Gallegos for another 4 years. I've been doing the job. I would love to be there for another 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that wraps up the forum for the county assessor. Please give a round of applause to both my candidates, Linda Gallegos and Lawrence Griego. District 57.
Thank you.